the final day of the week. These are the voyages of the program Unsportsmanlike Conduct. Its ongoing mission: to explore strange new movies, to seek out new bits and new edifications, to boldly go where no radio program has gone before. Oh, Kent's Movie Club. It's El Kent's Movie Club. El Kent's Movie Club. It's El Kent's Movie Club. With Kent Wolgamott of the Lincoln Journal-Star. Hello, Kent. How are you?
I'm good. You know, sometimes somebody's going to screen grab this and put it up, and we're going to look like the four biggest idiots on the planet.
I think that's already been done.
Yeah, if you weren't watching, I don't know what Stibbs was doing just now, but I was a little.
It's called dancing, Josh.
Oh, is that
you
what
wouldn't
it
know
is?
Dancing?
anything about it.
That's cool. He was dancing. He was dancing.
Gyrating
away.
My bad.
Call me Elvis.
Before we get to our movie,
I don't
this
think
is
they do that.
This is one of Kent's favorite times of year. It's NBA playoff season.
It's finally almost here.
next week.
Yeah.
Next week.
Are you a
Got
big
to
fan of
see
the? You've always been, a traditionalist, but do you like the play-in game format that they are bringing? It actually started last year, but this is the first year where it actually feels like the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm not too wild about it, truthfully.
Yeah.
I think you take the top 8 and don't give those other two teams a one-game chance to knock somebody out. Why do you play the regular season otherwise? Says get off my lawn guy.
Amen. Thank you, Kent. Finally, we'll get some reason on this show.
Well, how much of this, Ken, is you being a Lakers guy?
That too.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. You've hung your banners already. You
Let's
guys have
go.
enough.
Time for 18.
Yeah.
But if the matchups stay the way they are, the fact that you're going to get Golden State and LA for a play-in game, I mean, if you're going to debut something like this, this is the best time. This is the best way to do it.
Absolutely. And with Steph playing the way he's been playing the last month, maybe, that really, he's gotten back as the, people are really paying attention to him. And hopefully LeBron will actually play. He's not playing tonight. So that's
and he was supposed to return on what, Tuesday, Kent? That they were first saying he was going to. Stibbs had a question of what you say about it, like a moron. But wasn't LeBron supposed to come back Tuesday and then Wednesday, and now still not coming back tonight?
Not coming back tonight. Now they say maybe. I think their next game is Monday, Tuesday.
Is it that late? They're not even playing this weekend.
I don't. Maybe it's a Sunday game.
Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah.
They say that he might play then, but if he doesn't play, they've got some problems.
Tony, he's avoiding those vax questions. He apparently hasn't been vaccinated.
Well, and I didn't know you could change my. You have the ability of being able to change the name on you.
I knew that forever ago and forgot about it.
That's not fair.
Nice. John is a big NBA guy. Awesome.
Well, and that's the only reason I would watch this movie this week, because it is the heartwarming story of the Texas Western basketball team surviving the deserts of post-nuclear Australia in Mad Max Glory Road. This is Josh's movie this week.
Look, I don't even know how to explain this movie. They drive one way and then they decide to drive back, and it has some of the coolest special effects in any movie
it's not really
ever.
special effects.
And it's not really special
just
effects.
action. Yeah.
I looked it up today. According to the director, 90% of the effects were practical. So, Kent, let us begin with this question. How in the hell did they make this movie? I've watched it probably 5 or 6 times, and every time I watch it, I am blown away that they were able to accomplish what they were in these 2 hours.
More importantly, how do they do it without anyone dying?
That too.
That's the question. But that's old school, stunt-driven movie making, I mean, I suspect some of the additions so to speak, might be the intensity of some of the explosions and stuff. And also they clearly did something to eliminate the lower part of her, whatever it be, left arm, right arm, whichever one it was. But that's an old school move, but they just did a lot of it and they did it really well. And, those vehicles they make are not what they appear to be to us, right? That giant rig that she drives is obviously empty, right? It's just a shell. And so you can do a lot of things with vehicles like that that look like they're big, heavy machines, and they're really not. And that's part of how they were able to do it. But some of that stuff is just spectacular. When those things go flipping over and even the motorcycles jumping over after she sells the fuel and those motorcycles jump over the tops of the rig. That's serious stunt work right there.
Or the people that are on I don't even know what you'd call them, the big sticks. Like that was real too.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Man, incredible.
Well,
those are some stunt people that know what they're, and there used to be a whole passel of those people in Hollywood. I mean, if you recall the Tarantino Once Upon a Time in Hollywood movie, that was what Brad Pitt played one of those guys, right? There used to be hundreds of them.
In Death
Proof, now with special effects, there's not so many.
Yeah, and Tarantino's in Death Proof, most of that movie is about being a stuntman or stunt woman, and his actual stunt woman plays herself in the movie.
Yeah.
Yep. John will probably remember the name Joey Chitwood.
Yeah.
He was the famous stunt driver in all the old Hollywood movies.
And he had his own traveling stunt show that, he would take around, and they'd do tricks on cars. They'd get the cars up and drive on two wheels, or, go through the loop-de-loop. But I mean, they had a whole it was like basically a traveling circus of car stunts. I think whoever had the contract for building all of these wild rigs just had to have a blast, because you've got like different cars fused into different cars. My personal favorite was it was the main
bad guy,
the main bad
guy's car.
And you got, Alice Cooper up there jamming on the guitar.
I knew you would like that.
Hanging from the ropes, dangling from the top,
coming out of
flames coming out of the guitar. Just kind of going way back to like Revolutionary War days, where you had the fife and the drummer ahead of the army. This is dude out here on his guitar, the flames are shooting out. It's like, and he managed to live through most of the movie. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Did you remember seeing like any of like the GIFs or the like memes that came out after that? Because like that guy was pretty big all over the internet. Because he like kind of stole the show for the especially when they introduced him and he came. Like, it was incredible.
When they first leave the base there, and the bad guys are on the run, and of course you got Max strapped to the front of the one vehicle, and then they show, they do the nice little pan zoom where they zoom in on the guy, and he's just like and it just flames shooting everywhere. It's visually for the eyes, it's awesome. It's amazing. It really
won Best Cinematography Oscar.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it did, I thought, Kent, it did, especially in modern times, it did what the original Mad Max did back in its day, where, obviously it wasn't nearly as over the top, but for that time, a lot of the stuff and the visuals in that movie were kind of over the top, which was what helped make it a cult favorite. And I think this movie, fast forward, 40 years or so, kind of did the same thing in a new age.
Absolutely. Even more so. The other thing about this movie is, if you pay attention to the sound, the only time that it's quiet, there's no action at all. And he uses the silence to kind of let you go before the next blast of action comes after that. And the other thing you mentioned, Max being strapped to front of that car for the first, whatever it is, 30 minutes of the movie, maybe a little more. Tom Hardy got the crap beat out of him in that movie. You can't fake that. He had to do those stunts. He couldn't, you can't have somebody else crawling around on the back of that moving car because you can't CGI that in.
No.
So he had to do all of that stuff himself. He got the crap beat out of him.
It really, and I'm sure maybe there's something I just didn't bother to look it up, but to me, the story about how this movie is made is almost as interesting as the movie itself.
I agree.
Because of all, the things that they went through to make it look like this and how most of it is done in real time. And there's very little use of CGI in the film.
Yeah.
There's a really good oral history of the movie, where they have just different people talking about on the New York Times website. If you have access to that, it's really interesting. They're making a sequel or a prequel to this. It's going to start shooting next year. It's called, what's her name? Furiosa.
Yeah.
And, it's not going to be Charlize. They're not going to try to do the de-aging on her. And she's a little bummed that she didn't get to play the character again.
Especially when you're told you're too old.
Yeah. But this one apparently will explain all the stuff that about the green place and how she lost her arm and the warrior women that she was part of. It'll explain all of that and take it up. I don't know exactly to where, but apparently to right before this movie. And then they might do a sequel after that Charlize would be able to be in.
So they're going to basically spin the franchise off because obviously the franchise has been about Max.
Mm-hmm.
And technically, if I'm not mistaken, this is a sequel to the Mel Gibson series, correct? Yeah. So this film that we're reviewing, Fury Road, is
Glory Road. You almost called it Glory Road.
Glory Road. I almost did.
Yeah.
Is actually comes in the timeline after Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, which was the last of the Mel Gibson series.
Mm-hmm.
So now they're going to take and spin off the Charlize Theron character who, and that's the funny thing is, because I hadn't seen the movie before, for some reason I had it in my head that this was going to be a modern remake and she was playing Max.
Oh, so you didn't realize it was a direct sequel.
Right. I wasn't aware of that until a few weeks ago or a few months ago. But when it first came out, I thought initially they were reimagining the Mad Max character and she was playing Max.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not actually the case. She's playing a different character, and obviously she has an interesting story of her own.
Yeah.
And it's interesting in that the character of Max changed a little bit. He's much more of a loner and a sort of I'm going to survive and that's it guy in this movie, where there was a little more to what he was doing in the last one. And they had to do it, I think, it makes this movie work. But this movie is not really character driven, if you think about it.
No.
There's not a big character arc, and the only character that really has a developmental arc is the one, whatever you call him, the bald white guy.
Yeah,
he has an arc. The rest of them are the same character as when the movie starts.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's true.
I think that along with I still haven't seen any of the original movies. And I think what makes this movie work so well is that somebody like me can pop into the theater, which is what I did. I went to the theater having not really knowing anything about these characters of this story, and I watched it and I loved it, obviously. And I think that's what works so well. And I think that because of how it was made and how it looks, maybe this movie just doesn't need as much as some other movies do. It has just enough plot, but more just hey, strap in. It's going to be 2 hours of, driving around, that's basically all the movie is.
It's a classic action movie.
Yeah.
It really is. And they don't make those much anymore. Right. And you certainly don't make it at that kind of quality. I looked up what I wrote about it. 2015 was the the year it came out. I put it number 2 in the year behind Spotlight, the movie about the investigative reporters and the in Boston and the Catholic Church scandal. I had it at number 2, and I might, if I was making that list again, move it to number 1. I think it's the masterpiece of an action movie.
I mean, have we all forgotten about Mortal Kombat just 1 week later? Come on, guys.
Yeah, Ken,
that is interesting though, because Mortal Kombat was very much just nonstop.
It's just action.
But it tried to have more of a backstory.
Well, yeah, and it
tried.
It certainly wasn't this kind of action.
No.
Yeah, along the lines of what you just said, I weirdly think, like, we talk about how well or poorly movies age. I think as time goes along, I think this movie is going to get even more appreciated. Mainly, once again, because of everything we've talked about, and that is just how it's made. And I just wonder, especially as we continue to go into the world of CGI and special effects, that these are even going to be fewer and farther between, like they already have. And so that's why I gain more appreciation for it, even though it's only 6 years old.
Well, and there won't be effects that go outdated.
Yeah.
The fact that it's real stuff on the screen, like you go back and watch certain movies and you're like kind of chuckle at them like, oh boy, at the time that was cool. And now it looks ridiculous. That will always look good because it's
real.
Actually happened. Yeah.
And the other thing that keeps it from dating is that it's set in that post-apocalyptic time. So you don't get the
nobody has a pager.
Nobody has a pager or a billboard of something that no longer exists or is driving a 1983 Ford,
Right.
That's a great point. Yeah. There's no like technology in it outside of vehicles.
Nope. Right.
But otherwise,
it'd be like it's like being in another universe, but you're actually still here on Earth.
The same reason you're gonna like this, but that Star Wars will never age. Now, the special effects in some of the OGs will.
Go watch Phantom Menace. Those special effects are trash.
But as far as it's a different world, there's not technology. They made up all their own technology.
Yeah, so you're look at the cell phone.
That part of it does not age.
Yeah.
And if you look at the very first Star Wars movie, really has not aged. Some of the others have, but that first one stands up even with some of the goofy effects. I think
because a lot of it was practical. It was miniatures.
It was miniatures and a lot of stuff. And I know even with the special edition where they added the Jabba scene and some of that stuff, it's still, it still holds up.
Because, I think so, yeah.
Because it didn't try to do too much.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the.
Then Phantom Menace did.
Yeah, one of the problems with the prequels was, they tried to go really over the top with the war scenes
because
they could, right? But the original Star Wars, the battle scene, around the Death Star was just a few X-Wings versus a few TIE fighters, and that was it, because that's all they could do. Because if they tried to go more than that, then it would, it would either A, be too expensive or too in
look horrible.
Yeah, it wouldn't look good.
And
so
multiple other problems with the sequels as well. For the first three, starting with Ewan McGregor and moving onward.
You weren't a fan of Ewan McGregor?
No.
So I take it you're not going to be watching the Obi-Wan Kenobi series on Disney Plus.
I may have to watch it.
That is Mad Max Fury Road.
If you can, before it goes off HBO Plus, it's absolutely great movie.
Yeah, and I don't know what their turnover rate is on HBO Max. If they're
since it's kind of new, that specifically HBO Max, it will be interesting because I mean, like on HBO Go, essentially, like every documentary they've ever made is on there and will always be on there. So I don't know if this will just be an ever growing list of things they have the rights to, or
because
what?
I mean, similar to Netflix, they rotate movies in and out. So. But either way, it is on HBO Max. Check it out. It's really good and it holds up well, even if you watched it the first time, 6 years ago. I think it's my turn.
It is your turn.
Well, let's see. We've had last week. It was blood porn.
Well, real quick, because it's Warner Bros. I think it will be on HBO Max forever.
Okay.
I think anything that HBO owns, might just always be there.
So
last week, Stibbs had blood porn.
Yep.
This week was
car porn,
car crash porn.
Yep.
Okay. So this
actual
week,
porn?
Yep.
Yeah, we're going for real porn.
Debbie Does Dallas will be our We are going to go back a little bit, though. I was
real quick, not to interrupt, but you're gone on Friday.
Oh, that's right.
Do you guys want to switch, or what do we want to do? Like, I mean, you could do it, and you could hop on with us. Are you doing a baseball game?
I'm doing baseball. That's why I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Is it on during that time?
Yes. There's a double header going on.
Oh.
By the way, it's 5-0 Jays in the top of the 8th.
Good.
Well, you can. Yeah, I mean, if you want to continue to do mine,
what is it?
I was going. I've been.
Have you seen it?
No, I have not seen it.
I don't want to do it then if you haven't seen it yet.
Never mind. I'll put it in the bowl. I didn't even think of that. Good.
I
catch,
know. Yeah,
Sarah.
I realized.
I wish
like,
we would
crap.
have thought of it earlier.
Yeah, our bad. It's a Friday. We're not paying attention.
Oh, nice.
You got yours movies?
Yeah.
Movie tips?
Yeah.
Good. You can pick something really bad that I don't have to watch.
But oh darn it! I want you. I'm gonna make you watch it anyway because I think this is why. Best in Show. It's on HBO Max.
Awesome. Awesome.
And
You're gonna
and then you called an audible.
He did.
I think I might have been called an audible,
Yeah.
but we didn't ever use it.
Right. No, I know. Okay, Best in Show.
Or I don't think it was on anything yet because HBO Max wasn't streaming yet. Like it wasn't up.
I
and
think
I couldn't
you
find
thought
it.
it was on Hulu.
I
and then
wanted
it
to find
wasn't
it.
on
Yeah.
Hulu.
All right.
You're going to love this movie, John.
You really,
It is
even if you
so
don't join us,
funny.
you got to watch it. It's so good.
It is very
Best in Show on HBO Max. Sounds good. All right. So before the playoffs start, pick us a finals. Who's going to make it?
I'm going to go Brooklyn, and I wish I knew if the Lakers were going to have if LeBron and AD were going to come back, because I think they could actually get somewhere. But I'm going to maybe go a little off the track and say Utah.
Utah and Brooklyn.
Man.
the NBA front office will be excited for those TV ratings.
Utah or Phoenix. Those are the, Phoenix is looking real good lately.
Yeah. Yeah, if Murray doesn't go down, I think that the Nuggets would be the team that I would like the most out of the West right now.
And
even though they played well since his injury.
Correct me. No, the Nets have been in one final.
Two. They were in back-to-back years with Jason Kidd.
Oh, that's right. They were in back-to-back years.
And then before that, I think they were only in ABA finals.
Yeah, because Dr. J won a couple ABA.
Dr. J won a couple with the great red, white, and blue ball.
Yeah.
And their uniforms.
And, of course, the Jazz haven't been there since
Stockton
the dynamic duo.
Yeah.
So.
But I like both Utah and Phoenix. But I'm a Lakers guy, so that would bias my selection if those guys.
All right. Well, next week, Best in Show on the Movie Club. Kent, thanks a lot for joining us, and we'll talk to you next week. Have a great weekend.
See you next week.
Bye, Kent.
There he is, Kent Wolgamott of the Lincoln Journal-Star. Best in Show streaming now, HBO Max. Well, I mean, I can tell you, I was going to pick, and I'll pick it for next week.
Yeah.
Reservoir Dogs.
Ooh. Oh,
Reservoir
awesome.
Dogs on Hulu.
Nice.
Yeah.
I watched that for the first time 2 years ago.
I've never seen it.
Right, but
we were just talking about Tarantino.
We were.
Yeah,
we were.
All
All
right.
right.
We got our next two movies.
It's John becoming a director guy.
Look at you, a little QT, baby.
A Quentin Tarantino movie.
I didn't say that.
Well, you will.
I just looked at the title and the synopsis. I didn't even see who the director was.
You're gonna like it though. It's good. You're also gonna like
Tarantino.
Best in Show. You're gonna
have to watch it,
find
John.
time to watch it, and then we can talk about it when you get back.
You find time to watch it.
Like an hour and a half. You'll have time.
Yeah, it's a quick in and out.
Yeah.
We got One Beer Friday coming up. The Royals are closing in on ending the losing streak.
That's a shame.
They're up 5-2 in the sixth.
Dibs.
And it's 5-0 Blue Jays, top of the eighth at Seton Hall. More coming up, including information on the future of Sunday Ticket. And it's been a while. I can't be complimenting Iowa like we've been doing all this week for their progressiveness, for their intelligence.
John, look at John giving someone credit for being progressive. Wow, you really are turning over a new leaf.
No. I'm no communist. But we got to balance the scales.
Yeah.
Iowa football, come on, man.
Oh?
Stay tuned. 16:20 this